If fear is the only thing stopping us from achieving our dreams, and we only fear what we don't understand, then the antidote to fear is knowledge. All we have to do is find out who has the knowledge that we need to conquer our fears and achieve our entrepreneurial dreams. My name is Callum Walker, and welcome to the podcast that will help you figure it out and conquer this lonely entrepreneurial journey. Hello everybody, and welcome to the podcast today. I know you can't see this, but I'm wearing my Jake Funnels 2 Comma Club X coaching program hoodie. I've actually been living in this for the past, I don't know, I got it in the post about 2 weeks ago. And for those of you who are my clients, you know what a teacher's pet I am for Russell Brunson and just obsessed with his work. But I mean, when this came in the post, I was like, oh my God, I gotta wear it. I had a t-shirt, but I'm a real pussy when it comes to the cold. I know I've been doing my Wim Hof, I've been doing my ice baths and all that, but I still do like to be snug and cozy. And yeah, so when this hoodie came in the post, I've literally worn it every day. So it's massive as well. It's quite funny. I'm a medium, but clearly a medium in the US is very different to a medium in the UK. I think there's a potential obesity problem over there, but there is also an obesity problem over here. But anyway, back to the point on what I'm sharing with you guys today. So a little update really on where everything is at. I recently actually, about 2 days ago, went to see the Oppenheimer film. I loved it. I'm a massive Christopher Nolan fan anyway. The Batman trilogy was amazing. Interstellar is in my top 5. Well, actually, in all fairness, The Dark Knight and Interstellar are in my top 5 favorite films. And I'm a big film guy. And I loved it. I thought it was so powerful, so gripping, so connecting. But the reason why I'm mentioning this is more to do with again, it's quite funny. It's almost like my partner always kind of jokes about me that I can't look at anything or see something without seeing how it relates to business. But I guess that's kind of what you need to do as an entrepreneur. You need to get creative with the material that's provided with you and see how that applies to your situation. I guess that's entrepreneurship, isn't it? What can I do with that? Whereas most people just kind of see something and just take it for what it is on the surface, whereas actually kind of deeply looking into things, it's how creation is born. So yes, there was a really, really interesting part that really kind of applies to my situation right now. And it was the part kind of right towards the start and the get-go of the film. If you haven't seen it, you have to go and watch it. But basically it was back when he was a student. So for those of you who don't know, Oppenheimer was the doctor who was the head of the Manhattan Project, which built the first nuclear bomb, the first atomic bomb, back in the 1940s for World War II. So he was head of that project, and he basically bought theoretical physics over from Europe to the US. So he kind of introduced it. And there was a snippet when he was at school, and by school I mean at university. I think he was at Oxford. No, it might have been Cambridge. I can't remember. But he was at the university, and there were clips while he was just lying awake at night. Almost his mind just couldn't stop around this not even this subject, but this almost inner calling. And it was really interesting because I was looking at that. I was I can definitely attribute to that. The amount of times that I've just lay awake, just I can't stop. It was last night. I'm going to talk about this in a second, but of course I was watching a Marvel documentary on Stan Lee because I was really interested in his entrepreneurial journey and all this sort of stuff. Can you call him an entrepreneur? Yeah, well, his creative journey, genius journey. And it's I couldn't get that out of my head for ages. The stuff that he was talking about creative process, about how that applied to my situation. So I didn't sleep last night because my mind was just fucking racing. And I really attributed to that. But then the other thing that I really attributed to was that this guy was once at school. This guy was once a student. So this genius, this man who, whether it's been for the benefit of mankind or whatever, unleashed quite possibly the most important invention of all time in human history. He was once a student. I look back at Stan Lee. He was actually originally just mopping floors for Atlas Comics, and then became the founder of the biggest fan base ever. So like, all these people were once students, and I couldn't help but notice with myself, I can definitely feel myself being impatient, definitely feel myself put pressure on myself sometimes to have it all figured out, to have everything like perfect, and to like, that it's like, so my new membership, it's like there's an internal pressure that I've got to figure it out, I've got to do it. Whereas actually, if I can kind of, and I really want to pass this on to you, if you can actually still see yourself as a student of the game, then I'm still learning, that I'm a student of the game, that I went into Russell's program about 10 weeks back now, and I've been a student of marketing since. Like, my level of knowledge from a marketing point of view has gone through the roof. And it's almost like at school, I hate school, I sucked at school. But at school, you learned stuff and then you did a project, i.e. did coursework alongside it to almost like prove what you've learned and to apply what you've learned to a specific situation. So if you can kind of see your business in that same sort of way, of that I'm just learning, that right now I'm really learning the fundamentals of building a membership and getting it out there. And my coach and my mentor is like my teacher at school that I'm just sharing my ideas with. I'm bouncing those off. I'm getting my questions answered. And then I go away and work on my project. It's like uni when you're writing out your dissertation. Like, right, okay, I'm picking this. I'm learning exactly, like going very, very deep into one specific topic, and I'm learning it. And I guess that mentality kind of takes the pressure off of, oh my God, it's got to work out. And look, don't get me wrong, there are financial pressures and, you have the pressures of life that do need to make it successful. Like, it has to be successful. But I feel like you're going to get to success with so much more ease, faster, more speed, and more power if you just focus on, right, okay, what can I learn? How can I apply this? And taking the pressure off, I need it to work. Was actually fall in love with the daily labor and just get excited by what you're doing, get excited to be creative, to build, to learn more. And that was a really nice revelation, because I definitely have felt myself slipping into an internal pressurized environment of like, it's got to work. But just seeing that and just being like, look, you're just learning here, Chief. You're learning. And that comes back to the whole reason as to why I went into the program. I remember having this conversation with my coach, Jonathan, and I was like, dude, I'm in this program not to just earn £1 million. I'm actually in this program to learn, because those skills will serve me forever. All that knowledge, all of that, so like if it doesn't work out, like I know how to build a business back up. Do you know what I mean? So that takes the pressure off. So I think the thing I'd love to like pass on to you is like, just see yourself as a student. Like if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 30s, even in your 40s, still got so much time. Like Gary Vee talks about this all the time. Like you have got so much time. So just like see that. And there's a difference between putting something off and procrastinating and being patient. And it was interesting because me and my partner were talking about this. And we were talking about like, past jobs. And I say past jobs. For me, I had one job. I was a waiter and I got the sack. That's a story for another day. I'll leave a bit of curiosity in that. But she was talking about how past jobs have really impacted like her confidence going forward, and some past jobs which have sucked actually were like the best thing that ever happened to her, and that they were like stepping stones to move on to the next thing. And she actually lived in Australia where she was picking peppers. So she was picking peppers as part of her agricultural thing. And I said to her, look, what I'm doing right now is I'm planting the seeds of my pepper farm. And the thing is that I can have a tendency to go, where are the peppers? but they're still being planted. I'm still putting the soil in. And you know what? I could go and harvest a little bit. I could harvest, but you know what? Those peppers would be miserable. They'd be all shriveled up. They'd be like horrible to taste, and they'd look like shit. Or I can just plant the best possible peppers in the best possible soil and fertilize it with all of the love of nature and everything, and have a pepper farm for life. That's what I'm doing. And that's what you need to be doing. Like, you know, one of my favorite sayings is there's a season for reaping and a season for sowing, but we don't do both in the same season. And, you know, I was listening to The Alchemist, one of my favorite books of all time. Very magical book, very beautiful. And I was listening to it yesterday, and they were talking about when he was crossing the desert, talking about the camels, that when it was time to move, they moved. When it was time to rest, they rested. When it was time to eat, they ate. So there's a time and a season for everything. So maybe right now you're in the season for just planting, like planting your seeds. You're building your foundations. You're getting the whole farm together, ready to harvest at another point. So, and I think part of that is almost like being okay with the stage and situation that you're actually in. I know I've spoken about this a lot, but it's really important to take the pressure off you. One other thing that I really learned, again, which was really cool and really eye-opening actually, was I learned from Stan Lee yesterday. So again, he was basically like, he was talking about the difference between what took Marvel from being an average run-of-the-mill comic book company to the greatest comic book company of all time. And he said that what changed was that I actually started writing stories that fascinated me, and I actually started creating characters that interested me. And I was like, shit. Like, wow, that makes so much sense. And I went through my content, and I was like, do you know what? I've always kind of like, when I've posted content, I always gone, I didn't get any likes, engagement, like Instagram sucks, blah, blah. But I was looking through those posts, and I was like, I wouldn't like that post. It's quite boring. Like, yeah. And it's clearly engineered just as like clickbait. Whereas, like, I put a post out today, I was like, yeah, that was really interesting and really useful. And I got great engagement off it. So it sounds silly, but like, if you could, not even just your content, but like your business, like get stuff out there and make it all about like what you're actually fascinated in, what you're interested in, and what do you want to talk about? Like, what are the conversations you want to have? Who are the people that you want to work with? Like, what's the stuff that you actually want to get out there? So I'm like, right, I'm on a journey right now of just getting Callum Walker out there. I've been playing way too safe. Been playing way too safe with my content. I've been playing way too safe with like areas of my business. I'm definitely kind of breaking out of that shell, but it's like, that my goal and my drive is to get me out there. And there's parts of me that I haven't revealed. Like, I'm a very spiritual person, and I've definitely lost touch with that spiritual side recently because I've been so focused on the logical aspect of things. Whereas like, I'm a big believer in the law of attraction, the law of vibration. Like, some of my biggest influences are people like Bob Proctor, Napoleon Hill, like Russell Brunson. They talk about all of these like unseen forces, and I am. And I've been witness to things in my life that have happened should not have happened. Like, the fact me and my partner are together is like, that shouldn't happen, but it happened because I wanted it more than anything. And I just think that, one of my favorite sayings is from The Alchemist, which is, when you truly want something, all the universe conspires to make it happen. And I think that, again, like, what do you want to talk about? What content do you want to post? Like, what's your message? What business do you actually want to get out there? I'm sure that you've probably seen like the evolution of this podcast. Like, for those of you who work with me, you've seen my evolution, that like, I've shed the identity of being a nutritionist, and I've had loads of business mentors be like, oh, you can't do it. You can't do it. You can't do it. And I'm like, fuck you. Yeah, I can do it better than you as well. Because You just show these people how to actually kind of get clients in. But the problem is that you just leave them with clients who absolutely drain the energy out of the coaches. That your secret formula to success of growing a business is getting them to send 30 to 50 DMs per day. Like, that sucks. I don't want to be part of that. But you know what doesn't suck? Actually being able to provide a result that you're proud of, that you have absolute certainty that I can get an unbelievable result. And do you know what that does? That allows me to 4x my income. It allows me to 4x my income because I can actually take a 90-day client to a 365-day client. That's the easiest way to 4x your income. And the thing is, all of these other mentors, they can't do that. Do you know why? Because I guarantee not a single one of them will have the coaching knowledge and the nutritional knowledge specifically that I have. Apply that with the business acumen, you're fucked, lads. So I guess my point is that, like, knowing your worth and knowing your belief, like, it's so vital. So vital. I can't remember how I got onto that. I went a little bit of a rant, but I really need to get out there. That was it. Like, you'll have people like tell you can't do these things, but the only thing that you need to know is that you believe that you can do these things. You know, the thing is, the only person who's, well, I've got 4 people who have always fully believed in me. And I don't actually know why sometimes, but my mum, but I guess mums do that. My dad, my brother, and my partner. And you're like, that's all I need. And that kind of brings me back to, like, the importance of who you're working with. And I know I've, like, mentioned this so many times on previous podcasts, and I'm kind of going a little bit around the mill here. But this was something I really wanted to cover today. That, like, there'll be times when you'll doubt your ability. There'll be times when you're questioning, like, oh, can I do this? And the people who you're working with will lift you up or pull you down. And I'm like, today, I had 6 hours of client calls so far. And I've got a Q&A with my clients and their clients tonight. Now, each and every one of them lifted me up so much. And they were like, I had one client, like, I'm going to name you because I know you're listening, Sam. She was like, I have a client who's type 2 diabetes, gone into remission. I'm like, wow. So that, like, and just the conversation, the energy, the excitement of just being able to have the conversation with her, have the conversation with Maurice, have the conversation with Jack. Like today, like all of my clients have provided me with so much energy and so much belief. Like, yeah, keep going. And that's where you want to get to. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this up because I made a commitment that I'm going to make sure these are sub 20-minute episodes, apart from guests. I haven't got my guests on yet, but I just wanted to really just, like, you know, really get cracking and get on a roll with this. I think we're at like episode 25 now, which is actually pretty cool because that means I'm a quarter of a way to 100, which is pretty cool. And I didn't realize that. I really enjoy doing these, I must say. And I would highly recommend to you, like, whoever you are, whether you're a client of mine, whether you're a future client of mine, or whether you're just listening to this to pick me apart, I definitely start your own podcast. It's great fun. Like, and again, it doesn't have to be particularly formal. Like, this is just a bit of a Dear Diary. I'm sharing my experience, but the reason why I'm sharing my experience is because my target market is me. That I guarantee that if you're 25 episodes in, that you've followed the podcast because you can resonate with the journey, that you can see that, oh my God, there's so many parts that I'm like, oh my God, I do that. Oh my God, that's me. Oh my God, I struggle with that. Like, yeah. So that's why I'm doing it. So if you really want to, like, figure out exactly where you want to go, what your message is, what you want to stand for, and who your target market is, do one of these. Yeah. And it's a really easy way of creating content as well, because it gets you in your, like, full vibe. That, like, for me, just pre-recording content doesn't really kind of, like, for 60 seconds, doesn't really snap me. Whereas, like, here, you kind of get me in my highs, my lows, and you just get me in my real state. So definitely do it. Right, I'm approaching the 20-minute mark. So I've got one final thing, which is never forget. If every single one of your clients gave you just one new client, you have doubled your business. But what is the question? If you're 25 episodes in, you will know. The question is, are you giving your clients a good enough reason to recommend you? If the answer is no, I believe I've got a free lead magnet somewhere. Free report. I've just called it a lead magnet. It is what it is. Right, have a great day, everyone.